churches since he was a little boy. He thought he had made a conversion when he said a prayer of dedicating his life to Jesus when he was only 7 years old. He went to church, he prayed, he read his Bible, but he did not truly understand what it meant to have a relationship with the Almighty Father. He slowly started to follow the path of those around him. As he got older, he saw the same people around him who professed a devotion to God and following Jesus. The same people who talked about him were sleeping around and were abandoning their professed beliefs in their lives. Throughout his high school days, he would go to church, and on Sundays would never really consider God or what it meant to follow his son in his life. He was caught up with sports, women, parties, and making money. It seemed right to him, since everybody else kept talking about all the same things. And he thought to himself, is this what life is all about? But after graduating high school, he stopped praying to God because in his heart he was sick of being a hypocrite. Because he had asked for forgiveness for sleeping around with his girlfriend, but in his heart he knew he didn't want to stop. He would ask for forgiveness for getting drunk, smoking up, and partying, but knew it would not change next weekend when he would go back to it. He knew that he could not kid himself. Those he could not stand who professed being devoted to God were no longer strangers but himself. He turned his eyes away from God and no longer had any restraint in his life. He did what he pleased, but at night he would be restless, because even after the momentary pleasures of life, he would have a deep emptiness inside of him. If this was the meaning of life everyone was running after, then why was there such emptiness after? Why was he not fulfilled? A few months later, he started to search for answers. And he would write down in his journal, God, if you're out there, help me find my life and meaning in it. God heard this young man's prayers and knew once and for all that the time had come for him to decide, would he truly seek a relationship with God or not? God used this young man's older brother to get him out to church. And he used him because his brother had made changes in his life. He came out to a Sunday church service with his older brother and was blown away by the message of the speaker and the hearts of those around him. When the speaker spoke, he felt like there was only one person in the auditorium of hundreds, and that was himself. The speaker shared about the unfulfillment he felt from his relationships that were ungodly in the pursuit of pleasure instead of the pursuit of God. It was like he was the only person there, and he was touched by the message. After service, this young man turned to his older brother and said, you know what? I'm going to make this my church. And that night he started to study the Bible with his brother and some friends from church. Amen. He saw that they did not just talk about God in church, but really strove to make the Bible the standard in their lives. Amen. He was amazed that there were things in the Bible that he'd never read or had never been taught, but they're right there in front of his face. And 2 weeks later, after finishing studying the Bible, he made the decision to become a disciple and was baptized. Amen. That young man found meaning in his life. That young man found purpose and joy. That young man gave everything up and started a journey that would take him to many places around the world to spread the gospel. Amen. That young man is standing here today and speaking to you tonight. Amen. I was that young man who found out what it meant to have a real biblical relationship with God. And though I've had to face many battles and challenges and struggles to please God instead of myself, I know and I am confident I did the right thing. Amen. Amen. And God has made it clear that even a simple wretch like me can have a meaningful relationship with Him. One that happened because many years ago, Jesus died on the cross for you and me. Amen. And my prayer tonight is, I hope that many of you will decide to step out and find out what it means to know Jesus in your life and have a relationship with God. Amen.